Hey, synergistic items with Yamato. This time we're talking about vitality. I feel like you've already heard the intro. Basically, just sort of playing Yamato in a bursty assassin way. So yeah, vitality. Let's go. And now then, on to the next category. Vitality. First item, extra health. This item gives you more HP. It's pretty simple. Yamato's a pretty squishy-ish character. You start off with around 700 HP, I believe. So, you know, middle of the road. More HP can make you more difficult to kill, and if you're to put 2 points into your Crimson Slash, that is going to give you more healing. It's pretty good for survivability, but you know, it's more HP, but you know, simple. And the next item, extra regen, it just gives you more regen. As of now, Yamato has I'm gonna sell this. Has 1 health regen at base. That can be pretty slow, so this item can make it so you have 4 regen per second, which can definitely help with healing in the lane. And if you're going for healing in the lane, you do have a few options that I'll mention later, but extra regen is the most consistent healing within a lane that you can do. If you don't want any gimmicks, you can, you know, just get this and you'll have healing in the lane. It can also upgrade into a pretty alright item later on, but I'll talk about that later. And the next one, extra stamina. This gives you another stamina bar and more stamina recovery. If you're finding that Yamato's base stamina isn't enough, then extra stamina can help give you more. Stamina helps for many things, you know, wall jumps, air dashes, double jumps, chasing down enemies. Oh boy, that's laggy. Don't know why. But yeah. If they continue to nerf movement like they have been, then, you know, more stamina, yay. Healing rate. This is a, you know, let's say you're pretty low from fighting, gotta back up to base, and pop healing rate and just go do boxes or something, and come back. And then, you know, it's basically done, and you've gained at least 300 regen from doing that. Although if you were to pop healing rate, make sure you push the wave, come back, buy it, and then instantly do it, and then go do whatever, or just, you know, sit behind your shop doing nothing. It also gives you sprint speed, which can be really good for rotating from lane to lane. If I want to rotate to blue, and I don't want to take the zip line, I can pop this. Just, you know, have some more sprint speed and more lag apparently because my computer sucks. Oh my lord! And I can get here pretty. You know, I'm here. You can fight. On to the next item, melee lifesteal. This gives you 100 on hit, or well, you know, it could be whatever on hit, but currently it's 100 HP on hit, which can be pretty easily doable, especially if you're Crimson Slash. You can be right up in the enemy's face and do a quick melee to get 100 health. Although if you do it a quick melee, currently you get a ×2 cooldown whenever you do a light melee to the item. So it goes from a 8-second to a 16-second cooldown if you were to use a light melee. This also increases your melee damage, which, you know, it is pretty easy to do melee damage as Yamato, because, although something to note, I wouldn't be too surprised if they change how this item is, because another melee item, it was Spirit Snatch. The effect that Spirit Snatch has, if you were to do a light melee, it's now 70% of that effect going on to them instead of a cooldown. So it's the same cooldown, but it's just less effective for a light melee. So they might change that about this item, and if they do, then, you know, it's still going to be good. You're just going to get a slightly less healing, but it's still going to be a good burst heal to, you know, to make the enemy go, uh-oh. They got burst healing. The next item is rebuttal. This item is pretty situational. I would say it's only good if you're up against a very punchy lane, such as an Abrams, Billy, or just a Bebop and Mo and Krill are just meleeing the heck out of you, and you want to short up parry cooldown to hopefully get them off guard and they, you know, you parry them or whatever. And you can counter them. This item also, whenever you were to parry a melee, it will heal you for the amount of damage that that melee would have done to you. So it can scale into the late game, although it can feel pretty bad having an 800 soul cost item into the late game when you really want to upgrade it to something else to get your vitality investment up more, but it can scale, which is nice. And if you were to do a successful parry, you gain bonus damage against, you know, whatever. The next item, sprint boots. It gives you more sprint speed. This can help with rotating from lane to lane. If you want to rotate to blue quicker, from green.
Defend green.
It can help with that. Although, something to mention, the difference between sprint speed and move speed. Move speed is the speed that will affect you when you're in combat. So if I were to, you know, get hit, this is my current move speed. And if I were to get out of combat, I then turn into using my sprint speed. So in combat, this item's not doing a whole lot. Now then, onto the tier 2s. Battle Vest. I only really mention it because I suppose this might be useful in lane, or late lane, and maybe up to the roaming phase. Because did you get weapon damage and fire rate? But to take full advantage of it, you need to be a left-clicking person, and you need to be above 65% HP. So I suppose it could help in lane with dealing weapon damage to the enemy, if you feel like your spirit damage isn't doing a lot, or if you're just not hitting your abilities. This could be useful. I suppose it can help, you know, shredding these guys. But again, gotta be above 65% HP. So, and if you are shooting these guys above 65% HP, then like it's not unlikely for that to not happen, but you might be low while shooting, and it can work. It can give you useful stats that you can take advantage of, but I feel like you're kind of pushing it in terms of how synergistic it is with Yamato. On to the next item, debuff reducer. This just reduces debuffs. It's as simple as that. If the enemy has like a burn, they're silencing you, whatever, this can help reduce the amount of debuffs that are being applied onto you. If you're getting silenced and stunned before you can even get your ult off, then this item can definitely help reduce the amount of time you're silenced, so you can actually get your ult off. So yeah, pretty simple, just less debuffs on you. Enchanter's Emblem. This gives you spirit power and ability cooldown reduction if you're above 65% HP. Which, you know, Yamato can take advantage of that. Extra spirit means extra damage, more healing from your slash, whatever. And the cooldown reduction, it's only 5% currently, which 5% isn't a lot, but it's something. It can reduce your ultimate cooldown by 5 seconds, which, you know, it isn't. It's something. It's not a lot, but it's something. I would say this item's strengths mainly come from the fact that it can give spirit-like buffs while investing in the vitality section. On to the next item. Enduring speed. This gives you this gives you move speed and slow resist. So let's say there's a Kelvin just doing pain in the ass Kelvin things, such as slowing you, which is really fun to deal with. This item can help reduce against that. And also, again, the difference between move speed and sprint speed. Move speed applies in combat, so this can help chase down enemies and, you know, just overall be a faster character, which can help with, you know, again, chasing enemies but also getting away from enemies. So yeah. Heal Bane. This item reduces the amount of healing that a character does against themselves, and also it gives you healing whenever you kill someone. This can be pretty handy considering your ultimate gives +2 seconds duration on kills, so it can help you, you know, kill multiple characters. So it can help. So it's an item that can help you, that can help keep you up in a fight and also reduce the amount of healing that they can do against you. I mean, sorry. No, sorry. It can help reduce the amount of healing that they do. It also gives spirit power as well, which is nice. Healing booster. This item just gives you more healing. This can be quite useful. Especially, let's say you have tier 2 Crimson Slash, 151 healing. Compare that to something else that doesn't give any stats, like to have the same amount of vitality investment, 125. So, you know, that's giving a bit more healing. I would say this item's mainly notable or good when you pair it with other healing items such as Locket, Life Strike, Spirit Lifesteal, whatever. This item also builds off of extra regen, so everything I said about extra regen is applied to healing booster. The next item, Reactive Barrier. This gives you a barrier whenever you are, you know, stunned, immobilized, chained, slept, whatever. Now, as to what exactly this, you know, as to what exactly that means, or what exactly it means to proc, you'll figure it out. It's, you know, it's most things, such as Bebop's uppercut that won't proc it, while Ivy's stone form that will proc it, because, you know, it'll proc it. And it'll also proc my PC going to bad for some weird reason. Wow, that's weird. It's like being in a deadlock match for 212 minutes is a bad idea. Who would have guessed? Anyway, with that next item being Sword of Locket. This item gives you a stacking heal, I suppose, would be the best way to describe it. So if in a 30-meter radius, if an enemy, whoops, that is my, so in a 30-meter radius, say a Bebop uses an ability, I get a stack, uses another one, what is it? Whatever enemy within 30 meters that uses an ability, you will gain a stack. And each stack will heal you for a certain amount of HP. And then you can spend all of those stacks to heal yourself. This item can also give you +2 stamina on cast, or on self cast. So let's say you're you know, you're fighting a shiv, it's going bad, you're on low HP, you can dash jump away, use the item, then dash jump away again. So this item is a good way to get burst mobility and burst healing. And one last thing, I'd just like to say that this item, it used to scale with Spirit, but now it scales with Boon. And I think this item sucks now because of it. I think this item has an identity crisis. Anyway, next item, return fire. This item returns fire. I know, right? Very creative naming and very creative doing. But anyway, this item is mainly good up against gun character heroes because it returns 50% of the damage dealt to you back to the enemy. So let's say a Bebop's going gun build and he's shooting you, you can return fire and return 50% of the damage that you would do back to him. So return fire ignores your bullet armor or resistances, and you know it's whatever it's whatever the enemy's damage is, not whatever the damage is on to yourself. The calculation for the damage returned happens happens straight away. It doesn't take into account resistances or such and such. So you know, yeah. So yeah, with that in mind, another notable synergy is with Metal Skin, but I'll get to that item later. Spirit Lifesteal. This item is it gives you healing based off the amount of spirit damage that you're doing, and typically you like to do spirit damage. Oh, spirit damage! Oh, I want to buy boundless, more damage, more healing. You know, it's pretty simple. Just if you don't want to bother with any gimmicky things like Lockhead or Life Strike or I don't know, Healing Nova, we don't talk about. It's getting a bit out there, but you know, if you don't want to bother with anything gimmicky and you just want good sustain over time, this item's it. And the next item, Spirit Shielding. This item gives you a shield based off of your boon level. When currently you need 225 spirit damage dealt to you in a 3.5 second time frame. So if the enemy is doing a lot of spirit damage, then this item can help give you back some HP or give you some temporary HP to, you know, to help win in a fight. And also I'd just like to note barriers. Barriers also scale off of your resistances as well. So yeah. And the next item that we're going to talk about, weapon shielding. Basically the exact same as spirit shielding, except that it's 150 damage over a 3.5 second time frame that needs to be dealt to you to proc the item effect. This can sometimes prove tricky to actually activate because spirit damage is typically bursty, like with abilities, you know, such as this one. It's bursty, while gun damage is typically dealt over time. This can make it so it can take longer to proc weapon shielding than when you'd actually want it to proc, and sometimes if you're playing a certain way, like let's say, you know, I'm going in and out of cover, you know, he's shooting me, I'm going in behind cover, he's shooting me again, I'm going in behind cover, he's shooting me again, whatever, it can sometimes take a significant amount of time to actually proc this item. Although, of course, the later you get into the game, it's 150 damage, and that stays throughout the game. So the later into the game you get, the more easier it's going to be able to proc this item. So yeah, just an important thing to note about the differences of spirit and weapon shielding. And now onto the tier 3s. Bullet resilience.
Good luck not getting
This
shot.
just gives you more resistance against bullets, or well, weapon damage. It's pretty basic. Although I would like to mention this gives 30%. Your max ultimate gives 60%. How much resistances are you going to be getting from being in your ultimate? Have you put your guess in? Well, it's not 90, it's 70. In your ultimate, or well, the way how resistances stack, they don't stack the way that you might think. Bro can't spell. Oh, just reads it. Okay. So let's say you were to go battle vest, return fire, metal skin, all that. 18, 8, 30, 15. How much is that? Have you done the math? It's 55. So yeah, if you were to do the math on these, you know, you would get around 70, 71, but you actually don't get 50. Resistances stack diminishingly, in which the more different things you stack, the less and less you're going to get. Although that's not to say that resistances are bad on Yamato. It's more or less just saying that resistances are, you know, they might not be as effective as you think they actually are. Although even with that said, you're not always going to be in your ultimate. There are going to be times when you're going to be outside of your ultimate. Your ultimate only lasts 8-ish seconds, depending on upgrades and stuff. 8, 5, whatever. And so having resistances outside of your ultimate can still be helpful. Counterspell. This is the best item in the game. Or at least in like how cool it feels to use. You can counterspell a Bebop Bomb, you can counterspell an Inferno Assault, Shivolt, Ivy, you can counterspell so many things. This item is really good against attacks that sort of can either be predicted or you can tell when they're going to be happening. Well, keep in mind, if there's something like a gun Bebop, what's counterspell is going to be doing a whole lot, because it's you know, because you can't really block a continuous stream of things. You can sort of block a brief burst of things or a thing. So this item's good on things that you can react to and things that you can predict to counter. And also, if you were to counter, you get some healing, spirit power, and move speed, which can be very useful within a fight. This item is just really cool. On to the next item, debuff remover. This item builds off of debuff reducer, so same things apply to debuff remover, except that now you can so now you can remove the debuff that was applied to you. So let's say a Bebop here, he's being a fucking asshole. He's hooking you, bouncing waving you, and you're dying before you can do anything because you can't get your ult off. He's built 1,000,000 stacks, and then you die. So you can go, he'll hook you, you can debuff remover, and then you can ult. Debuff remover shines when there's things to remove, which you know, oh wow, really, but you know, I cannot understate this enough. If you're getting silenced and you're dying before you can get your ultimate off, buy debuff remover. This item also gives a heal on debuff remove, which can be cool, and also move speed, which is nice, but you know, its main appeal is the debuff removing, and if there's no debuffs to remove, such as silence, then, you know, whatever. One thing to note is that an item like Curse, you cannot debuff remove Curse. You can just reduce the Curse debuff. So, you know. So you know, there are some things that you can't debuff remove. And what I've recently just learned from Fred the Finch, who maybe accidentally did it on stream, I don't know. You can actually debuff remove the earn pickup, which is quite which is quite interesting. It makes you question, what can you actually debuff remove? And it's a whole new video on itself that someone could make, or someone has already done. So yeah. Shut yo. On to the next item. Fortitude.
You'll be the last one standing.
This item builds off of extra health, so same things apply. Although now it gives more HP, and it also has an effect. After not taking damage for 13 seconds, gain 2% max health regen, and when you're above 75% HP, you gain move speed. This item can be useful to help you, so you don't have to go back to base to heal. And if you're sort of low on HP, you can just sort of roam, stay in the back, not take damage, not farm. Because if you were to, you know, take damage from these guys, the effect stops. So, you know, so it can help just keep you active in the map while and get healed without having to go back to base. This item helps, you know, in combat, because the extra HP means, you know, the more sustain that you have, and also the more healing that your Crimson Slash will do, because of, you know, the more HP you have. And it will also help with rotating around the map. Healing Nova.
Stylish, I love it.
I only really mention this item because it's sort of a bursty-ish healing. Not really, but you know, it could be good to let's say you're fighting someone, you're low on HP, they've applied a healing reduction effect on you in some sort of way, whether that be healing, whether that be heal bane, toxic bullets, or whatever. You can all immediately use it, gain a burst of healing, and if it's something like toxic bullets that need to build up, then that healing reduction isn't going to be applied by the time Healing Nova goes off. And it is a AoE effect, so you could inadvertently sort of heal your team as well while in the fight, which can be alright. Notable synergies are Healing Booster, which boosts the amount of healing that this item does, which is quite nice. Yeah, just it's a bursty-ish amount of healing that, you know, that depending on the healing reduction that the enemy has, you could get this full heal off after popping your ultimate before the healing reduction gets applied back onto you. The next item, Life Strike.
Someone's gonna be bleeding on the concrete.
This item gives you healing based off of the amount of damage that your melee does. Pretty simple. And if you were to do a heavy melee, the cooldown would be 4 seconds. Well, if you were to do a light melee, the cooldown would be 8 seconds. And also the heal is less effective versus non-heroes. This item also applies 60% slow, which can be pretty useful against, you know, making it more difficult for the enemy to run away, so you can catch back up to them. And just something to note, similarly to what I said about melee lifesteal, they might change this to be how Spirit Snatch works, in which instead of light melees doubling the cooldown, light melees are just 70% less effective. Currently it's not, and it gives you a ×2 cooldown, but if they ever were, they would definitely change how this item is thought of or played, and can turn it into a more constant rather than a burst. But you know. And notable synergies are just anything that increases your melee damage. You know, I get healed that much, but let's say I would have point blank, that gives melee damage. This gives some melee damage on top of this, and I get healed for a fair bit more. Yeah. The next item, Majestic Beat. This item is it's mainly just good for rotating on Yamato. There's really no reason to be in the sky on Yamato. It's, you know, I mean, I suppose you can, like, you know, semi use it, but like, if it, so like, you know, you could be like poking Infernus, but he starts running away. Let's say the Infernus backed up all the way to, I don't know, that truck there, and you can wait 5 seconds. Majestically comes off a cooldown. You can follow him. It's alright, I suppose, but if you're gonna chase someone down, you already have an ability for that. So that sort of leaves this item as an engage tool, which can still be fine because it does give barrier whenever you use it. So, you know, use it, going on an enemy, have 200 barrier to work with. And also something to note with this item, if you were to use it and instantly dash on the slanted surface like this, you can store your drop down thing. And so I think, even if you were to get shot, you can still just use this item to do a little thingy. A bit of a bug, I might say. I feel like they might patch that, but you can do that. Just something to note.
That's gonna help keep your blood on the inside.
Metal skin. This item makes it so, you know, let's say there's a bebop, and you're getting shot at. He's gone gun, and you're taking a lot of damage. Metal skin can just negate all of the gun damage that you can do. Although it doesn't negate melee damage. It does give you a debuff whenever you were to activate it, a less dash distance and less movement speed. But if you're in your ultimate, those debuffs don't actually apply to you. So this can be really good, especially considering whenever you ult, you're up close in the enemy or enemy's face and they're going to be shooting you. And activate that, they're not going to be doing any damage to you. And since you're all shiny, because you know, you sort of in multiple ways, you activate your ultimate, everyone looks at you, you're in the middle of everyone, they're going to be shooting you, you can activate metal skin and oh, they can't really do damage to you. It's pretty cool. Although, you know, Spirit does still go through, it's only bullet immune. And a notable synergy that I've mentioned before was Return Fire,
New York tuxedo.
in which, let's say, there's an Infernus, and he's shooting it, just activate these two items, and the bullets will go back onto him. Although something to note is that, as you just saw there, even though I had both of the items activated, Infernus's burn will still build up, and so will Haze's fixation stacks. So you may be bullet immune in terms of damage. You're not immune to the build-up effects that bullets can do.
The last one standing.
Spirit resilience. This item just gives you more resilience against spirit damage. It's basically the exact same thing I said as bullet resilience, except it's now on spirit. Yeah. That's really it.
Stay 2 steps
Stamina
ahead of
mastery.
death, my friend.
This item is a build off of extra stamina, and it just gives you more stamina. And also, it can now make you so you can double jump twice in the air or dash twice in the air. Personally, I find that Yamato doesn't need more stamina or stamina mastery, because you do have an ability to chase people down, and you have items that can slow people or whatever. But this item can definitely help with catching up with enemies or getting to places like up here a lot easier. Although, you know, although if you are smart with your movement, you can just sort of, hey, whatever. Yeah, but hey, whatever. The more they nerf movement, such as minus 0.25 stamina on wall jump, or, you know, less stamina, although no, more stamina being used every single time you wall jump, and, you know, if they continue to nerf movement and stamina like that, then this item can definitely be a whole lot better, because they love nerfing movement. Sorry, I like to play Holiday and Lash. Is that obvious? Anyway. Trophy collector. I think it's bait. Bait or mental retardation, you call it. But anyway. Anyway, looking at the stats, it's a build off of sprint boots, so whatever I said about sprint boots is applied to the here. And now it can give a stacking buff whenever you get a kill or assist. This buff can give you bonus health, sprint speed, ability range, and souls per minute. Now, it's not like Yamato can't take advantage of these stats. It's that all the stats that it's just that these stats you are kind of like whatever on Yamato. It's just sort of nice to have, but you know, range does definitely help Yamato, but it's not like Yamato really needs the ability range. And the souls per minute, of course, it you know, it's more souls. This item can eventually pay back for itself, which is nice. The bonus health, of course, is nice. More bonus health means more healing from your Crimson Slash, more sustain, whatever. And the more sprint speed can help with rotating around the map. But another caveat of this item is that you need to stack it up. To gain actual value from it, you need to buy it early and then get those stacks, and then the game needs to last long enough for you to actually use those stacks and stats. So let's say a game is going for 250 minutes, then yeah, Trophy Collector is going to be an amazing item. But if the game is ending in 20, 30 minutes, then Trophy Collector, you might not actually get the stacks or the stats from this item, and it can be really difficult to tell how long a game is actually going to last. So, yeah. Anyway, now on to the next item, Veil Walker. Whenever you walk into a veil, you turn invisible. And you also gain bonus move speed, and you heal a little bit. And the healing scales with your boon level. This item can be pretty good, because there's a Shiv there. He sees you walk into the veil. You're like, oh, he didn't see me walk out of the veil. He might still think you're in there. And you can surprise him. So, you know, so this item can be useful for jumping your enemy or just traversing around the map. And also, like you saw there, and similar to Shadow Weave, you can actually charge up a power slash while still being invisible, and then you'll come out of the invisibility when you do your power slash attack. A bit of a, you know, weird thing. But yeah, this item, it can help with jumping enemies and traversing around the map, and some sustain throughout traversing the map. And next one,
That's gonna help
Warp
keep
Stone.
the blood on the inside.
This item is a, you know, a mobility item, teleport. So I need to get up there really quickly, double jump, teleport, and you're up. This item also gives some bullet resist, so if you've ever seen gun-oriented heroes, like there's a gun bebop, the IV going gun, whatever, then this item can also help against making it so less damage is applied to you, from them to you. Other than mobility and just the damage reduction, this item doesn't really synergize that well with Yamato. You can't use items with power slashing, so you can't initiate a power slash and then teleport up and then hit them. You can teleport up and then charge it, but you know, but you know, there are some spots on the map where you can sort of charge it up and then like flying. If I could do it better, charge it up and then flying and then go over it. You can do that. Although that's map dependent on where you are on the map, and this item can sort of just surprise them a bit, not too much. It can also help with, you know, chasing down someone. If they're just out of your range, you can teleport in and flying strike them. Now on to the tier 4s. Cheat death.
Hell of a sword, and I'm grateful it's not pointed at me.
Do you remember when Yamato was immortal in her ultimate? This item can give you the budget immortal Yamato ultimate. And yeah, that's what the effect does. It makes you so you can cheat death by using cheat death. Although when you're on the cheat death state, you do deal less damage, you heal less, and you have less move speed. And that only apply, and the death immunity duration, it isn't too long, but you know, it's alright. And now, something that I've mentioned before, most item debuffs don't apply to you when you're on your ultimate. And so I think you can see where I'm going with this. You can be immortal in your ultimate while still outputting a lot of damage and being able to heal a lot of damage. So yeah, you can do something really stupid like the only vitality item you buy is cheat death, and you just buy like 1,000,000 different spirit items, and then you just have no regard for your life, just sending it on someone. It can be, you know, pretty funny. And a notable synergy with this item is superior duration.
I see someone appreciates fun.
It will increase the death immunity for an even longer period of time, which can, you know, which can help to not die. On to the next item, Colossus. This item builds off of extra health, so everything I said about extra health applies here. Although now it turns into an active item, and when you activate it, you gain bullet resist, spirit resist, and also you go bigger. Also, whenever you're around an enemy, you reduce their move speed and dash speed. So if I were to take Furnace, this is his move speed. If I were to activate the item, he's ever bit so slower, and his dash distance is a bit slower. This item can be good to give you resist outside of your ultimate, so you can be, you know, pretty tanky outside of your ultimate, and then when the effect ends, you can then use your ultimate to be tanky for even a longer amount of time. Diviner's Kevlar. This item gives you spirit power and barrier whenever you cast your ultimate. And now I don't know if you know this. I find Yamato to be a fairly alt-based character. So by gaining stats whenever you use your ultimate, that's a win in my books. Yeah. Yeah, so this item increases your damage and also gives you some barrier. Although, one thing to note is that if I were to take control of Bebop and buy Curse, and then take control of Yamato again, Curse, it removes, here it is, it removes all non-ultimate buffs. Now, is Divine as Kevlar an ultimate buff? Some of you might be saying yes, some of you might be saying no. Well, I'll show you. Make Mimic, Curse. The barrier's gone. Any item that removes non-ultimate buffs will remove Kevlar's barrier, despite needing an ultimate to activate Kevlar, which is, you know, okay. So just be wary of that. If the enemy has a bunch of curses or items that remove non-ultimate buffs, then maybe hold off on Kevlar. Also at base, this item gives 15% ability duration that can help with the debuff from your Crimson Slash or in your ultimate duration, which is pretty alright. Healing tempo. I only mentioned this item because I mentioned healing booster. It's just a tiny bit more healing effectiveness, and whenever you do gain healing, you gain fire rate and movement speed, which, you know, 40% fire rate, that is pretty significant. But you know, extra fire rate's nice, but is it nice on you? Maybe, if you have things like Toxic Bullet or I don't know, Tesla Bullet, then yeah, sure, that might be good on you. But that's encroaching into the gun Yamato territory, and that's like, come on, man. We don't do gun Yamato in this household. We don't do that here. But anyway, yeah, apart from fire rate, the move speed that it gives, it is nice, but 6.4k for a tiny bit of move speed and a little bit more healing effectiveness compared to healing booster. Is it really worth it? Is it? Anyway, on to the next item, Infuser. This item builds off of Spirit Lifesteal, so everything I said about that applies to Infuser, except that now it is an active thing as well, and the active gives you a whopping huge amount of Spirit Lifesteal and Spirit Power, although for a pretty short amount of time. Currently it's 6 seconds. So let's say you use your ultimate, you're kind of low, you pop Infuser, deal a crap ton of damage, and heal a crap ton of damage, and you know, be quite fine. Yeah, it gives you damage, and it also makes it so the damage that you do, you gain healing from the amount of damage that you do. So, you know, it's a pretty cool panic. Oh no, I need healing. Like right now, give me healing. You know. In terms of item synergies, I would say that it synergizes with items that keep you up in the fight for longer, such as duration, or you know, duration for your ultimate, or even refresher. Because personally, I find Infuser to be very overkill in the amount of healing that you can get from this item, considering that you're in and out pretty quickly. But if you are staying for a long time, this item can definitely help you stay in there. And then the next one, inhibitor.
I'm trying here.
This one just, it's a stackable debuff. You need 3 shots to activate it on someone, and it reduces their damage and also healing that they do. And once it's built up, again, all you have to do is tickle them and it'll keep it up.
There was a time when people respected
Oh, it's going. No, it's back. Yeah, this item is really good if there's like, if the enemy's just doing too much damage and you need to stop that, or they're healing too much and you can, you know, help stop that. If there's a hyper-fed shiv and you just want to, hey, can you do less damage and less healing? Cool, thank you. You just weave in some right clicks, keep the buff going. Yeah. Just a pretty good item at, you know, reducing damage and reducing healing. There's really nothing more to note about it. Juggernaut. This item builds off of sprint boots. No, wait, no. This item builds off of enduring speed, which builds off of sprint boots, so everything that I said about enduring speed and sprint boots applies to Juggernaut. And it now has an effect that it reduces the fire rate to whoever shoots you. So if there's a bunch of fire rate caring characters on the enemy team, like Haze and Furnace, Gun Ivy, Gun Bebop, whatever, this item can do wonders to help reduce the fire rate that they have. If they don't need to. And also the slow resist that it gives can definitely help against characters like Kelvin that slows you a lot. Although the amount of slow resist compared to enduring speed, it is definitely a sizable increase, but is it worth the amount of money? Who knows? That's up for you, man. I don't know. The next item, Leech. This item builds off of Spirit Lifesteal and Bullet Lifesteal. This item is good if you're going for a hybrid sort of build. So let's say you've built Express Shot with, I don't know, Mystic, Point Blank or something, and then Boundless, I don't know, Torment, whatever. It'd be good to gain healing. What I did. It can be good to, you know, gain healing if you're a hybrid. If you're not hybrid, I'd recommend just sticking with Spirit or going with Infuser instead. And just another thing to note, personally, I find that this item gives a lot of healing, and the healing that it gives is a fair bit overkill. So I would use this item if you're staying in the fight for a long time, or you're using items that help you stay in the fight for a long amount of time, such as refresher, duration, stuff like that. Phantom Strike. Apart from this item just being cool, being able to, you know, bam. Apart from you know being cool, it also disarms, gives them slow, and does some damage. The disarm can be great against gun characters. Again, there's a Gun Bebop, Infernus, Gun Ivy, Haze, whatever. It can help against that. And also it can help to keep enemies from running away from you because of the movement slow. And the damage that it does, you know, it's more damage. And that damage scales. And you thought you tell me you thought I'd forget it. No, I will not. If I were to come on, make Mick, I can drag him down to the ground. For this item, allows you to drag airborne units to the ground, which can be very good against Grey Talon, Lash, or any other character that likes to be in the air. And it can even be good against an Abrams trying to use his ultimate to escape. I'll show a clip of that happening, in which I think Phantom Strike was the reason he failed to escape.
going to go
I'm not too
die
sure,
alone in
but
the jungle.
pretty cool.
Awesome.
You're done?
Oh, Phantom Strike does it! It's insane.
That won't be up.
Purging flash!
Plated armor. This item is good at
I'm trying.
reducing the amount of weapon damage that is dealt to you. There's a chance to deflect the bullets that hit you, and there is a chance to prevent any on-hit effects from hitting you. Something to note that it's bullets, not weapon damage, so only bullets will not hit you. As you can see, the bullets fly off in multiple directions when that happens. And for certain characters, such as Infernus and Haze, this can drastically cut down the amount of damage that they do to you. I'll link a video in the description that actually talks about this item more in depth and how good it actually is against certain heroes, because I don't want to steal that guy's thunder. But yeah, if the enemy team is a bunch of gun carry characters, plated armor can be a pretty decent choice. And in terms of item synergies or anti-item synergies, I believe Return Fire works. I believe Return Fire works the same way as Metal Skin does, in which the Return Fire will happen first, and then the plated armor will happen second, with the deflection chance. So don't worry about any anti-item synergy. There's no anti-synergy with this, at least for now. That might change, who knows. And the next one, Spellbreaker. This item stops any high incoming spirit damage and drastically reduces it by 75%. This can be good if there's a bomb Bebop and he has like 1,000,000 stacks and he's just dealing 2,000 damage to you in one bomb, because Bebop is a really cool and fun character. This item can be good against burst spirit damage, but sometimes it can proc on things that you don't want it to proc on, such as a lash. Such as a lash. Let's say a lash would do his flog and then his ground strike. His ground strike is going to be doing more damage than his flog, so you want to spell break at the ground strike, but it's actually going to activate on the flog, and then you're not going to proc the spell break on the ground strike. So the item effect can be a little bit misleading, or I don't know, just inconsistent would be the better word to use. But it can definitely still help against any high amounts of burst spirit damage, although be it inconsistent. Unstoppable. This item makes you unstoppable. It's basically your ultimate, but as an item. I personally find this a little bit overkill, because why would you buy Unstoppable when you can just use your ultimate and be unstoppable? Although what you can do is, use Unstoppable, go around there, know that, yeah, I'm gonna be fine for a long time. And they're not gonna silence you, and you're not gonna die when you have your ultimate available. And just something to mention, it also gives debuff resist, and I suppose I'll mention this now. If you have a certain amount of debuff resist, you can actually...
I can take whatever they throw at me.
You can actually parry... I didn't
It would
do
be
that
really
right.
nice if someone appreciated all the hard work I do.
Yes. If you have a certain amount of debuff resistance, such as, I believe it's a round
2 steps ahead of death, my friend.
44, I believe, but
I'm going to write a strong
but if you have enough debuff resist, you can... Okay, come on, here we go. you can guarantee parry a Abrams charge. A bit niche, I know, but you know, if there's an Abrams, if you buy a few debuff resistant things, such as debuff remover, such as debuff remover and spellbreaker, or debuff remover and unstoppable, Abrams is going to have a pretty hard time at getting a melee, getting a heavy melee off on you. Yeah. And the next and final green item is Witchmail.
Lady, I'm trying here.
This item reduces a random cooldown by 4 seconds whenever you take more than 75% spirit damage. Now, of course, you know, the numbers I just mentioned can change, but 4 seconds is pretty good, and it's actually not a random cooldown. You can actually sort of influence said ability. So yeah, just to simulate how good this item can be, I have a talent here with a crap ton of spirit and torment pulse. And let's say you only have 1 cooldown active. It may be a random cooldown, but it's only ever going to be that cooldown that's you know, that's on cooldown. So, you know, it can be pretty good to get another ult off in a fight, because if we were to have, let's say, cancel its cooldown and do the ult, if we were to get very lucky and, you know, we were using abilities and it all went into our thing, our cooldown's already halfway done. And let's just say, oh no, we're not so lucky. You know, oh, it actually has no power slash. You see, we can another power slash off. Or it might be another power slash, another crimson slash off. This item can not just help reduce your survivability through having more ultimates, it can also increase your damage by giving you more power slashes and crimson slashes and whatever. And the notable synergy is with Transcendence cooldown, because it changes the passive cooldown from 1 second to 0.75 seconds, which can help for more uptime on your on the item, which means more uptime on your abilities. Although that was a little bit of a best case scenario, that might not be happening. It is matchup dependent. If you have a bunch of gun characters on the enemy team, then you're not really going to be taking more than 75% spirit damage again and again. But you know. So that was all the vitality items. If you think I mentioned any important ones or any important information that I just forgot to mention, then drop it in the comments below and I'll say, yeah, good job. I'm an idiot for forgetting. Okay, bye.
Zosaもないな。